YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We have the Cessna 400 1.1 meter from Tower Hobbies right here. It's gonna be amazing. Can't wait to fly it for you. Look at these gigantic, awesome Fowler flaps. And yes, this thing goes together real easy. Beautiful chrome spinner, all sorts of scale details. Yes, that is a scale detail. I talk about it a little bit in the video. Magnetically held down attached canopy with details and glass. Super cool. And when I say glass, I mean plastic, but it looks like glass. We equipped ours with a 630. So we had the end pins. We'll show you exactly how to do that in our unbox build radio setup. And we're also flying ours on 2200 3S.
No, 1300.
1300 3S, but you can do up to 2200. My apologies, guys. Takeoff flaps deployed. Fly from a different angle today because the sun is being what the sun does best. Obnoxious. Oh, beautiful scale takeoff. That was 40 to 30% throttle, folks. The thing will do it with the best of them. Look at that beautiful landing light. Goofy flashing, strobing LEDs on the wingtips. I want nav lights, but I don't want them to flash unless they do on the real one. Anybody in the real world have flashing nav lights? Leave it in the comments below. If you're in China, you don't count. Full landing flaps here on this turn. Hard on the throttle, keeping it tight. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You okay?
Just a little bit of confused wind there.
Yeah.
Up and over. The thing doesn't have to fly like a boring general aviation plane. I don't think they're boring myself. I love general aviation planes. It's like my favorite stuff. Oh, son, you're being good.
This is a good spot.
Takeoff flaps, unless I hit that tree.
Yeah,
that would be a bad spot. I'm gonna do an inside pass, which is gonna be kind of like a twig. And then over. Nice. Guys, if there's any homeless watching this, don't get jealous of my dock in case you catch a glimpse of it.
Oh, they can't see, well, okay, they can't see it from right here.
Not right now. They will in a second. I know. I was feeling the same thing.
Okay.
Inside pass over the runway. Beautiful, guys. Okay, now, camera crew, I'm feeling just a little bit of a roll tendency, so I'm gonna try to get that out of there with a couple clicks of trim.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do now is gonna be super obvious. I'm gonna fly around the cherry. Man, that landing light really helps with visibility.
It does.
It's just anytime you fly from a different angle,
So
the angle of the dangle really matters.
Apparently so.
But guys, 50% throttle, 40% throttle, just really chilling, taking it easy tonight, 4th of July weekend. Beautiful time with family today. Definitely built a dock out of pallets. In case you guys wondered what my homeless camp joke was. No, I'm not experiencing homelessness, but I am experiencing a dock, which is pretty awesome. Out of the flaps, hard on the throttle. That's definitely not general aviation-y. Bringing it down through the hole. That's what she said. Beautiful. Did you hear that noise?
I did. That little...
That sounded like a Predator ESC.
Motor noise.
Okay, I gotta go over the homeless camp for just a second since now I talked about it, guys. I'm gonna just fly over here. Way over here. Camera crew, you gonna get it?
Mm-hmm. It's down there.
Takeoff flaps. Yeah, they do that all the time in Cessna 400s.
Remind me to not fly in one of those then.
Outside pass, outside pass.
Bag.
Grass hops are sort of questionable on this. We've done one landing, flipped it over upside down. Not sure if you guys are gonna see that flight or this flight, or if you're gonna see both. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we like to show it the way it flies. Camera crew, 2 steps back. Thank you, perfect. Inside around the cherry, if I can make the angle of the dangle. Camera crews get nervous, I can tell. Nice. There it is, guys. I'm gonna do full stop just in case I blow it up in 4,000 pieces on the next drive.
Don't do that.
7 minutes and 55 seconds left on my timer. That'd be a 12-minute timer.
Minutes.
This thing flies forever and rever on 1300 3S. Let's back taxi this thing. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Take off flaps deployed. Get her flying. Beautiful.
The cows agree.
The cows like it. They're like, moo, moo, eat more chicken. Moo. You don't like Angus beef. Moo.
I'm guessing that they're going to see this flight first.
Because it's absolutely gorgeous.
It is. And our lighting is a lot better than it was really bright earlier. But we'll probably still show what was our actual true maiden flight from this afternoon.
So folks, when we show one or the other, we're not trying to be deceptive in any way. It's just like, we want these things to look awesome because we love them. That's a pretty cool angle. It's a different hole we're hitting. You know, it's always nice when you try a new hole and it works out good.
Well, sometimes you need a smaller plane to stick it through a smaller hole.
Are you saying that size matters?
Well, if you're trying to hit a different hole, it does.
1.1 meters, folks, from Tower Hobbies. What a beautiful plane. Beautiful night.
Man, that light is great on the front.
It really is. I wish the nav lights weren't flashing. Schizo lights.
Yeah.
Over the homeless camp here, as you can see. That's where any of the homeless disembark from the shore and get into the water.
Oh, man.
I'm sure there won't be any political recourse.
I'm sure not.
For having talked about the homeless. They're gonna be like, oh, Brian, we gotta knock down the homeless talk. There's a lot of people in the RC hobby experiencing homelessness.
Well, if you keep buying planes.
That's right. You're gonna get
you'll have plenty of boxes.
Out of, woo! 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 Almost in it. Oh, buddy!
Oh my goodness.
Did you guys see what just happened there? The ground effect with landing flaps on this thing, it will suck you into the ground. Because you're just cruising along, clean and dirty with the gear. Of course, they're fixed. But then watch this, guys. You need to keep in the power with those full landing flaps. Tons of drag. See, I'm out of the power, and I shouldn't be. I'm at like 10, 15%. Oh! 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 So as you can see, she likes to stick it in hard. Full power! Yeah! I should give you guys warnings. Speaker warning.
Link to speakers.
Speaker warning. Inside out loop. Now, I'm not gonna fly this like the RV7 because truthfully, I don't think it looks good in doing that. I think it looks dumb. But some of you guys might love that. I don't mean to take anything away from you. The truth is you can fly your plane however you want. I'm gonna fly my plane how I want it to look best, and boy, does it look good. Take off flaps. The landing flaps are maybe just a little bit too much deployment. I should have gone a little bit back. So folks, 1.1 meters of pure delight. It's definitely got a little bit of wonk characteristics with the long, slender wings, but it's actually quite good. It's fun to fly. It's not a perfect flying experience. I feel like it definitely makes you fly it. So like if you're thinking it's gonna be like the SR-22T, I really thought that plane flew amazing. But some people weren't crazy about it. I can tell you this, I loved it. And here's the thing, 1,300 millimeters compared to 1,100, this thing is like half the size, folks. I mean, sure, the wingspan is the wingspan, I get it, but that 200 millimeters makes a huge, huge, huge difference. I know difference. So folks, all I know is you're gonna love this plane when you order it from the links in the video description below. If you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, that's how we run our little YouTube business thing. And that is gonna be by encouraging you to buy things that you love, not by buying things that we tell you the manufacturer wants you to buy. Obviously they do, or they wouldn't be working with us. But at the end of the day, we want you guys to get what you love and not what they're trying to sell today, okay? So the truth is, we love the hobby and we want them to sell out every time.
But if you want this today,
you should order it.
It is available.
ASAP.
It's not a pre-order. It's already been released.
It's an actual
If you're watching this.
If you actually order it, you may actually get
it.
it. It's amazing. It's like the good old days in 2022.
No.
Yeah.
That was in 19.
2022. It was pre-COVID.
That was not pre-COVID.
What? When was COVID?
COVID was 2020.
COVID. I just wanted to make sure we
I have
got
to check some box now.
recommendations. Fact checked. The fact checker said that Brian was incorrect. He said 2200. He is such a liar. And he has to be fired from his job now. Guys,
Oh, I was just...
she's squealing. Squealing like a villain. Okay, cam crew,
Yep.
you good where you are?
Yeah, I'm off the runway.
2 minutes 20 left. I must have pushed it a lot harder on this flight.
You did.
But I gotta say, I'm actually way happier with it this flight. Okay, full landing flaps. That's the J11 killing zone. There it is. There it is, guys. Like I said, you kind of gotta actively fly it on the way into the strip. That was a pretty good landing. I mean, I didn't feel like it was especially difficult to do. We did set up, but I didn't even show it in this video. We'll show it in the maiden flight. It's nothing special. It goes level. You let go of the sticks. It goes that direction. You know, you turn it. It limits your bank angles. It's like every other time we've done safe. But I got to say, it's a different feel, okay? It's definitely not designed as a 3D plane. It's not going to perform like a 3D plane, but it's got a lot of power. So it's definitely not lacking in power. And where it lacks for power, it makes up for smallness. It's easy to load in your car. You're not gonna have to take it apart. You can put it up on the dash as long as you get the air conditioning on. And the truth is, I really like the way the plane looks. It's super scale. And let's just go ahead and back taxi it a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't go into the low voltage warning too much. But all I got to say is the thing looks absolutely phenomenal. The only thing I don't like about the looks are the nose gear, because that's the way Cessna makes them. I think the nose gear on a Cessna 400 is ugly. But that's just me. I think the mains look good. I think the plane is beautiful. But it looks scale. So my complaint is not with the model, my complaint is with Cessna. Sorry, Cessna. And all I got to say is what an absolutely gorgeous rendition of an otherwise beautiful plane. Because really at the end of the day, Horizon knocked it out of the park, or I should say Tower, knocked it out of the park with this thing. It's very good. I really want to go up and fly it some more, but I don't have another battery in my pocket. And to be honest with you, it's just been a really good flight, so I kind of don't want to jinx it. Guys, at the end of the day, we love bringing you the best, the latest and greatest in RC options. And the truth is, even if it's not the best, we still want to show you what it's got. Is this the best? No, but neither are the last 100 planes we did.
Right.
They're all good for different reasons.
Yep.
There really isn't a best. And look at that prop. There is something best about how realistic that looks.
Yeah.
That's our timer, by the way. You know, if you weren't pushing it so hard, you could easily get your 12 minutes of flight time. I'll probably set my timer to 10 minutes just to be on the safe side. Yeah. Then if I don't do a voltage alarm next time, I won't have any issues. But this thing is absolutely to die for. Beautiful looks, beautiful execution, very easy to build. I'll get that prop spinning. I just love seeing that spinning prop with a chrome spinner and the air lengths. One thing I can definitely say in terms of what you might notice in terms of complaints is that it is not a fully painted body. We noticed a couple of points where like the wing spar was designed a little bit too close to the surface, so there's some bubbling there. Not a big deal. We pressed ours down with our thumb, helped to blend it in. You could put a white decal over the top of it and hide that look. But all I've got to say is the thing is absolutely gorgeous. Love the Fowler flaps. You pull the wing out of the box, it's totally assembled. I love the steps. I love the antenna. Everything just works. And it's just absolutely beautiful to see these general aviation planes because I am a sucker for general aviation planes. A lot of people scream warbirds, jets, and that's all we want is EDFs, speed and insane 3D. I'm gonna tell you this, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And if that's your forte, go for it. My forte is beautiful, windsock is hanging low, sun is hanging low, beautiful sunset, things have calmed down, the stressful day is over, I'm done dealing with whatever shenanigans were happening earlier in the day, and I can come out here and have a relaxing flight. I might even throw it into a loop or a roll or a little upside down, which by the way, upside down, there is a pretty good amount of pressure needed. So if you're gonna fly upside down, you might wanna think about going to the middle hole or the inside hole instead of the outside hole as recommended in the manual. I also feel like the rudder authority is plenty to do the job, but you might want a little bit more if you're going to try to do any sort of 3D stuff. I can't believe I'm even talking about 3D. This is a Cessna 400.
Right.
It's a general aviation airplane. It's not designed to be 3D.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, our planes anymore are getting so powerful and so well conditioned that you can pretty much do 3D with almost any plane, okay? That being said, I love this plane. It's really good. I like the way it went together. It was a relatively easy build. We did have, full disclosure, one issue. I used a 630 that I didn't realize I had used previously, forgot to factory reset it. And so I had my left lever on channel 9 by default, the left slider, was actually turning on and off the flight mode. So it caused some weird behavior, which we thought was something else. It turned out not to be. We do figure it out. It's probably a good exercise for somebody that's brand new to just watch and see how to diagnose the problem. But at the end of the day, it might be a little bit confusing. This is a general aviation plane, ailerons, flaps. It's 4 or 5 channels because we got flaps. There's no retracts. The thrust reverse, there's an extra yellow cable that comes off of the ESC. We found that that did not turn on thrust reverse, not in our experience. We did attach it to the gear channel and tried it. No such luck. No big deal. I don't care. You probably don't need it on a plane this size. But if it was an Avian ESC, you'd be able to scroll over and find it. Again, this is a Tower branded ESC, so it's not claiming to have an Avian. But I did check to see if there was an option. But I believe that yellow cable is just a programming cable. So, other thoughts? I kind of cut you off there, camera crew.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say, but you did make me think it does have an IC.
Oh, IC3.
3 connector.
Yep, which is a little bit unusual. Normally we see XT60s, and then you can stick an IC3 into an XT60 on the device side, but you can't necessarily use an XT60 equipped battery. And so when you get your battery, make sure you pick one that either has an adapter so you can go out an EC3 or an IC3. You don't need the IC3 because there's no data jack.
Right.
But at the end of the day, very satisfied with this plane. It is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. It looks the part, it does the part, it's light. I wouldn't recommend flying it on 2200, but you can. The reason I wouldn't is keep this thing as light as possible. It's gonna perform really well. The landing gear are atrociously hard, but that's just something we've come to used to. I'm not really that surprised. They're not squishy at all. They're rock hard diamond blade sharpening. Yeah. But whatever, it is what it is. If I had complaints on this plane, it would be in the ugly nose gear that Cessna designed and then Horizon copied, or in this case, Tower Hobbies copied. So they didn't do anything wrong, Cessna did. So if you hear me griping about that, I thought originally it was just like, hey, we need to do it cheap, so we're gonna do it this way. No, that's the way it actually looks in real life. So if you don't like that look, you'll have to take it up with Cessna. Other than that, powerful enough, beautiful enough, and the thing is actually really good in the air. It handles nice. You can hand launch it. We show that in our first video, our first flight, but it's light enough, really easy. You can hand launch. If you do have to do landings on grass, it's gonna be a little bit sketch just because it likes to catch and flip. Yeah. So slow it down as much as you can, flare it as much as you can, and then, you know, it's gonna have a tendency to wanna flip. The good news is this is a pretty sturdy vertical stabilizer. You do have to glue in your rudder. I use thin CA 1, 2, 3 points, very easy to install. You only have to put in this side. It's already comes fully assembled, you just slide it in. This thing has to be glued in. I use China glue for that. I also use China glue for these, and I use China glue for this. Antenna. You're supposed to use CA, but whatever. This is EPO, it'll handle any of them you choose. And I don't believe you would need foam safe to make it work, but I did use thin foam safe up here to make sure I didn't compromise my joint, because if you use the wrong CA on EPO, or if you kicker it, it can sometimes, even on EPO, it can sometimes open up the opening a little bit and then you get poor contact on your rudder. So I would use foam safe if you can. And if you're gonna use kicker, just understand you might speed up the process enough to warm it up, and then it can cause that, you know, deterioration. But otherwise, absolutely to die for. We hope you guys enjoyed this footage. Not sure how you're gonna see it, but there is a bright, sunny maiden flight, but this was a better flight. I think it's probably what's gonna lead it off.
You'll probably see that flight next. That was our true maiden.
So if you guys wanna see it, stay tuned. Also, if you're interested in the unbox build radio setup where we do run into the problems of 630, all you have to do is check it out. It should have already published for you to watch at your convenience. If you're this deep in the video, I know you're ready to watch it. That being said, if you have questions, comments, leave in the comments down below. We'll do our best to get to you. And if you want to support us, we have 5 different ways. Support from PayPal would be once, support from Patreon's monthly, and then monthly YouTube members. Thanks for being members, Patreon and YouTube members, and then YouTube super thanks. But the best and the one that we really suggest you do is when and if you decide to buy from the links in the video description below. It costs you no extra. You can still use your RC bonuses and discounts and coupon codes and all that stuff. All you have to do is just follow the link, and then it goes in your cart, and they'll know that we sent you there, okay? Then we get commissions from the companies that make these, whether it's this plane or another plane. We never want to persuade you to get the wrong thing at the wrong time. This is a great plane. I probably wouldn't get it as a beginner plane just because it's got some tendencies that are a little bit harder to control than a high wing trainer. But the thing is, it really does fly pretty easy. It's relatively easy to land. I think the Cirrus SR22T is easier to fly. I would say it's easier marginally. It's not a huge difference, but the truth is this thing bites harder on landing than the Cirrus. So I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you have a difference of opinions between this and the Cirrus SR22T 1.3. Again, 1.3 is a lot bigger, and it's a lot bigger plane, a lot more mass. And I was flying those on 4,000 3Ss? I can't remember. It's been a while. Man, we had a red and a blue one. The more recent one might have flown on 4S as well. 4S. So more capable, more advanced, bind and fly. It's a lot more money than this. So bigger. Just keep that in mind. If you're seriously considering that versus this, you're in the right place. We're going to give you the no BS. We don't care which one you buy, or don't buy either one. Buy something different. Either way, we just want you to know it exists. We want to give you the high notes. We want you to show you that it can do what it does in this video, because, you know, I'm just an average Joe. I'm not some sponsored pilot that comes in there and flies them at 1,000,000 miles between my legs and survives to see another day. I could do that on accident, but I don't think I'd be having any more children. Well, so at the end of the day, we love doing this. We love being a part of the RC community, and we want to bring you guys the truth and nothing but the truth, so help us God. So if you guys have questions, leave them down below. All right, that's all we've got for you. The Cessna 400 from Tower Hobbies. Beautiful rendition, along with a beautiful sunset. And let's give them one more beautiful shot of that beautiful temporary dock. Show them the beautiful temporary dock. Yes. Do we need to pause and go give them a close-up? Can we go close-up?
I zoomed.
Are you embarrassed of it?
I'm not embarrassed.
That dock is still fun because you can crawl out of it.
It is. Our kid could do a cannonball, so he was super excited.
That's right. But when I do cannonballs, the earth shakes.
Yeah, because we want to keep the water in the pond.
I kind of bottom out, sort of. I kind of jump really far. So we do have a dock potentially coming, if I can get them to reply to me. But my dock is evidently very small and not expensive enough for them to give a crap about me, which is kind of frustrating. Because I was at the place looking, and we had like 3 pieces we're going to buy. And so I was like, oh man, we must be pretty top tier.
High up there.
Yeah. And I walked out, and there was one with like 40 pieces. I was like, what the heck is that? Yeah. Are they building a village?
No kidding.
No, they were just going 200 feet out.
Oh my goodness.
Ours is going to be like 16 feet long. Oh, so anyway, if you've ever built a dock, leave it in the comments. I want to hear your stories and glean as much as possible before I go get another mortgage. All right, that's all you get for tonight. Thanks for watching. We hope we answered all your questions. Tower Hobbies, good job. Cessna, clean this up for me next time. All right, that's all you get. Come back for more. Stay tuned. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this thing, 1.1 meters, Cessna 400. Absolutely gorgeous, scale lines in every direction. It is a wonder. And look at this, guys, 1300 3S installed, magnetic attachment hatch. Everything fits real nice. We got a voltage alarm in ours. And an AR630, you could do a 637T and get telemetry for the pack. But for now, we're gonna fly it and see how it does on our 3S 1300 Smart Pack. We do have a Gen 1, so we have the balance lead, which works out nice. Takeoff flaps, here we go. That's 50% power, tons of power. Definitely gets off the ground just fine. AS3X and safe on our current configuration. Got a long, slender wing, so I was a little bit concerned it was gonna fly a little bit erratically or difficult. But so far it's 60% throttle. Even the bright LEDs are looking great. Turned up my AS3X gains just a little bit. Very short fuselage relative to the wings. And so again, I thought that might cause it to fly a little bit weird, but it actually feels really nice. Not exactly right out of the box, given that it's a plug-in fly, but that's the way Tower does it. So if you guys decide to use this without a stabilizer, then you might wanna watch out. Good day bright LED on that landing light, looks gorgeous. Just gonna fly it around. Lots of turbulence today because the sun is bright and the wind is definitely not absent. Probably getting some thermal action right over the top of these trees, actually. Oh, that was cool. See the shadow. Very good. Feels a little bit tipsy right now on the roll axis, and I think what it is that the plane, just most of the body is actually above the wing. It's a low wing, and I'm just going to turn up the stabilizer, see if that helps. A little bit of sloppiness on the rudder there I'm noticing, and that could just be the shifting direction of wind. But boy, oh boy, does it look good up against the sky. Love the blue, love the white. A little bit of trim on the rudder, a couple clicks of trim to the left on the ailerons. Just trying to bring it down. We haven't exceeded 60–70% on throttle for more than a second. Right over the top of the cherry. Okay, so now that we have done some cruising, given this is a general aviation, rudder has plenty of authority. I keep feeling like this 1.1 meter size has got me misjudging the distance out to the flagpole where our windsock is. And the camera crew is gonna move back to her normal position. I'm gonna go right overhead. And we've got a little bit of a roll tendency. We have manned aircraft, 2,500 feet, could be going overhead. So we're just gonna yield the right of way if necessary, but we shouldn't need to, so take off flaps. Now landing flaps, let's check the landing flaps. We did a lot of landing flap. Look at that deployment, folks. Almost straight down. Fowler flap separates from the wing a little bit as it deploys. So far, so good. Manned aircraft is really high. You can see over there. I don't know if you guys could catch that in time, but there are some vultures. Beautiful and ground effect, really reliably, easy to control. Definitely looked like it was gonna be a challenge to fly this one, but it's actually not bad, given that we're not in perfectly calm conditions. It's not really bad, but it's definitely not dead calm. And when you get into the heat of the afternoon like this, you're gonna definitely have a little bit more turbulation in the air. Do feel like I have to fly it a little bit more than some other bind-in fly planes because they come so well tuned. But with AS3X and safe, in fact, let's show safe. Here's safe. So I'm currently in safe, so I'll get to altitude now that we have the manned aircraft in the past. Let go of the sticks, it brings it right level. So as you can see, you can fly it in safe just fine. I'm just gonna bring it down here. Levels it up, a little bit of a kick to the right. Okay, so out of safe now. I'm gonna give you guys a shot without AS3X. Here's without AS3X. I've got the stabilizer off. Now, most of you guys know I always fly with stabilizers, but I gotta say the thing actually isn't doing too bad. And now that we have this kind of lull in the wind, quite easy to fly. I'm gonna go up and over. There's one of our turkey vulture friends. So our 5-minute timer is coming up, but we haven't heard a peep. Stabilizer back on. We haven't heard a peep from our voltage alarm. And so I think for now we're totally safe on this 1300 3S Smart Pack. Of course, as you guys know, they do self-balance which is nice because you don't have to worry about getting a saggy cell taking your plane. Beautiful. So I gotta say, compare this to the SR22T, you might be saying. The SR22T, an E-flite product, is bigger, 1.3 meter. This is 1.1 meter. So it's a considerably smaller plane. And I gotta say, the fixed gear are dinky on this thing. And so while I am going to try a landing here, full landing flaps coming out, I think it's gonna be pretty easy to put down with fixed gear tricycle. Tricycle configuration is a fun thing if you haven't ever flown a tricycle. There it is, okay? So no thrust reversed on here. Should have no problem getting to a stop. And we don't, actually pretty good ground handling, but not a super sharp turning nose gear. So we're not done flying. We're gonna keep flying. We're gonna pause or reset. All right, so with the wind this time, excuse me, not with the wind, but in the correct direction. 50% throttle. Brake out of ground effect, no problem. This thing would take off in short distance, but I'm actually really loving the way it looks and surprised by how well it's flying. I was reluctant to think that a plane with such a long, narrow, slender wing would do so dang good, but it really is just doing fantastic.
Well, it's kind of an unusual size class. I mean, not super common.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of 1.1s lately, but the thing I like about this 1.1 is it's very scale. And guys, I was watching and learning about this product, and I thought maybe the nose gear was like kind of a bad replica because of the spring steel exposed. And I even mentioned it in the unbox like an idiot. Then I looked it up on Google, and guess what? That's exactly the way the Cessna 400 looks. And so if you guys are thinking the same thing, I just want to implore you, don't be dumb like me. That's actually the way it looks. Yes, you can still do barrel rolls. Yes, you can do all the different bells and whistles you want to do in terms of aerobatics. Not unlimited vertical. Get out of the way, turkey vulture. But I would say this is honestly a very good performing plane. It can do the 3D insaneness. I just don't like flying general aviation. Upside down's a little bit much. You need a little bit more elevator throw than makes me feel super comfortable flying it upside down. But we're in the outside hole. Take off flaps now. We're in the outside hole on the elevator and the rudder. And so what that means for us is you should be able to very easily increase your throws if you're into flying a little bit more 3D. And by the way, I don't mean to poo-poo that if that's what you're into, but I do have to say that's not my thing. A couple of basic aerobatics are all I expect out of my airplanes. If you decide you want to buy this thing for an aerobatic platform, I would definitely encourage you to consider slightly different planes. The RV7 from E-flite would be an amazing option. Which is ironic because if you guys follow the channel, you'll know it's not one of my favorites because I'm not a 3D pilot. Mm-hmm. I do some 3D, but only just to see if the plane can handle it. It's just not my thing. Okay, full landing flaps now. Let's see if we can grease. Whoa. I needed to add power there and I didn't. So it kind of banged down. The landing gear seemed to do fine. Very heavy spring steel on the mains. Nose gear, again, spring steel, very simple. No strange apparatus to brake. A little bit of throttle. Keep in the throttle on this plane just a hair. There it is. Oh yeah. And you know what's funny? I hadn't thought about it, but this plane has that obnoxious landing noise. And look at this. This is my full left. Watch the full right out of the flaps now. That's the full left. Takes almost all 37 feet. But then watch this. When I turn, I can turn way sharper to the right. So if you think about that when you're taxiing, then it will taxi a little bit better for you. Also, chrome spinner, gorgeous. Look at the decaled prop, looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, take off flaps now. We're gonna get back in the air. It does kind of hop off the ground a little bit strange. I was trying to not do that, but it just gets into this kind of strange angle where it just wants to go. And I don't think it's me. I think it's actually just the way the airframe is. Now, is that a problem? Not necessarily. You just got to learn to work with it. Man, the wind shifted again. Good lordy lord. Okay, so takeoff flaps. Landing flaps over the top of the cherry. Out of the throttle. Whoa. Whoa. You guys see what I'm talking about there? Look at that. That was crazy. The wind just picked up and it just like, it refused to not stay on the ground. Okay, throttle cuts on. We're at 6 minutes 40 past 5, so that's almost 12 minutes of flight time with a little bit of downtime in between circuits. So right now, we're doing pretty good on flight time. I feel like we've got a ways to go. Throttle cut is on. I'm gonna pick this up, and we're gonna just check and see if we can see what the voltage is at, because 11.4, 3.8, wow, 3.79. That is pretty amazing. Now, I could go dead stick on this, but 3.8 is actually about where you'd want to bring a normal LiPo down. 3.6 or 3.3 is where I normally set my low voltage. On this, I have it set for 3.3. And I think you're gonna have plenty of power to get yourself to the ground. But one thing you're gonna run into is that occasionally on planes, you're gonna have a low voltage cutoff that you'll hit, and then you're gonna be coming in with pulsing power. Pulsing power would be considerably difficult on this plane, I think, because you do need a little bit of power to bring it in. It's a long wing, there's a lot of drag there, but at the same time, it's not a very deep wing chord, so it just flies weird. And look how huge the horizontal stab is on this Cessna 400. It's just a different layout for what we've seen. And so it's very interesting to see, also very detailed. I feel like in terms of quality, everything feels good. The build went really smooth. It was a lot easier than some of the old designs that we've seen from Tower, but I gotta say, look at that, that's annoying.
Oh, shoot.
So I'm gonna have to take and do a blue marker to that. It will touch up fine, but how is it that I scrape up my nose gear, but not the tail? So by the way, this reminds me of like the Diamond design on, what am I thinking of? The Diamond airplane.
Oh, I remember that little thing. The
Diamond aircraft. But I don't know what that's called, because is it a ventral fin since it goes down? Guys, let me know in the comments below. I know that, and you guys can't tell this from the wind, but the windsock is favoring both directions, folks. And right here, it's blowing in my face, which makes it really difficult to judge which direction to take off from. But at 3.8, we're gonna go ahead and take off one more time. A lot of flight time on this single pack. Just a little bit of light pressure on the rudder as I go to take off. The wing feels rock solid. There is definitely a spar in this wing, but it's not the type of spar that we're used to. This is a one-piece wing design. You take it out of the box, it's got everything built on it. You have to glue in the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder. But the thing is, the wing is completely built. Not a single clavas has to be installed, which is kind of ironic, I think. Now, grass hops with this thing. I did just cut the grass yesterday. It would probably put down okay, but I just don't know if I want to get it all dirty.
Those wheels are so tiny.
They are dinky, dinky, dink.
I was thinking about that too.
Okay, so let's try a little grass hops for the people.
Do you want me to
take one for the team? You want to just kind of come back? Well, you're probably fine right there.
Okay.
Just stay right there. Yeah, grass hops are going to be questionable because, as you can see, even with this grass, it's been pretty well trimmed. We still flipped over. And I think what happened is, look what happened to my wheel pants.
Oh.
My pants got kicked off to the side.
Ooh, they did.
So I don't know if that broke. That'd be a bummer. But I'm gonna just definitely suggest this. I'm gonna hold the tire and I'm gonna just pop it back over. There's kind of a detent that it sticks in, so we should be good there now. And gosh, it's like so windy right here. I wanna try a hand launch, guys. For those of you that are gonna fly and hand launch, I wanna show you what that looks like. I'm gonna go down to safe. I'm gonna give it full throttle. Oh yeah, no problem at all. Hand launch, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, out of safe now. And I gotta say, I mean, the plane just does everything I expected it to, and then maybe just a little bit more. I didn't expect it to do well with aerobatics, but as you can see, it does pretty good takeoff flaps now. It's definitely got some hesitation in certain instances that I'm not a big fan of. The thing has really good yaw authority. I thought that was gonna be bad because the rudder is small, but since it's really short, I'm giving it about 50% rudder. I feel like it's got enough, but it doesn't have like a bunch of adverse roll. And I also feel like it doesn't have a ton of adverse yaw, but you do kind of have to fly it on a day like today. It is windy, admittedly very windy, on and off. Confused winds are the winds that I don't like to fly in, and this is exactly what we're dealing with. Confused winds and thermals.
Yeah, the gusts are kind of killing us.
The gusts
today.
are definitely challenging.
Oh,
there's our beeping. Okay, guys. So what do you do when you get your low voltage? Relax your throttle, take off flaps, get yourself in a position, set up a landing. Okay, about 40% throttle, 30% throttle, bringing it back to planet Earth. Full landing flaps. Camera crew, get out of the way. This is where you want to preserve some power, because you guys see what just happened there? And it handled it like a champ, but I gotta say I clipped the short grass, and this is why. I don't have enough juice to actually arrest the dive. You could fix that by doing two things. One, you could not run to such low voltages. Two, you could move this elevator position from the outside position to the middle position. And I feel like you could use a little extra yaw for some people, okay? If you're doing any 3D stuff, just put it to the inside hole and forget about it. But honestly, I can't believe how good everything else feels. Really good out of the box. For being less than desirable, look how the windsock is. During this flight, it was straight down, just to give you an idea. So we've had variable winds, confused winds, and thermals. That's the trifecta. It makes for difficult flying. Now, if you're flying a really fast, really powerful jet that's heavy, really dense, high wing loading, you won't feel it as much, but a floaty general aviation plane like the Cessna 400 is gonna tend to get kicked squat in the nuts. And that's exactly what happened to me today. So the Cessna 400 flies in less than desirable conditions and looks very good doing it, I might add. So at the end of the day, is this the plane for you? Good question, because here's the thing. Is it a beginner plane? Maybe. Would I suggest it as a beginner plane? Probably not. Is it hard to fly? No. Is it easy to fly? Not really. So it's kind of like somewhere in the middle. So that's why, you know, if this is Horizon, they'd be like skill level 2.
Right.
which is somewhere between 1 and 3. I don't think there is a 4.
No.
So, or maybe there is for like turbine jets.
Yes, but not in general what we do.
Also, the size class is nice because this thing will get in and out of a car easy. You're not gonna take it apart because it's not like you can take it apart super easy. And obviously there's a whole lot of stuff that goes through the wing.
Yep.
But I mean, it was a really easy install. That 630, by the way, this is not a bind and fly. You do have to provide your own receiver. So if you're flying on something other than Spectrum, that might be an advantage for you. But in our case, we are flying it with Spectrum because we have such good luck with AS3X and Safe. Now, do you need AS3X and Safe? My suggestion is there isn't a plane I would fly that I wouldn't want at least a stabilizer on. Now, if there's a plane that doesn't have a stabilizer that you want it on, you can generally add it. But the thing about it is the only time I would ever shut off a stabilizer is to either demo a plane or to catch thermals so I can watch a wing get shaken, okay? And even in that environment, I'm just gonna turn off the stabilizer. So really at the end of the day, great plane, does everything I want it to do, and it looks the part. I am a sucker for general aviation planes. I love the Cherokee 1.3. It's like one of my favorite planes. I love PA-18s, I love Cubs. I love Carbon Cubs. I love all the general aviation planes. I'm missing a few. Well, SR-22T. Yeah. The Cirrus SR-22T looks a lot like this plane, but it is probably almost twice the size.
And that's where I think this is gonna shine. If you want a general aviation plane and you don't have room in your current hangar, the Cirrus is so much bigger.
But
it's at least
the Cirrus may have a wider broad spell.
It might.
There's a tiger. A tiger. Look at the tiger.
That is the saddest tiger I have ever seen.
Yes, I know. He's going to eat some animals.
Kind of a giant chicken.
I can already see him. He's gonna bring back some squirrel or something.
Don't eat the squinnies.
Yeah, he's gonna eat a squinny. So guys, at the end of the day, is this the plane for you? That's a great question. I don't think it's a bad plane at all. I don't think it's the best plane at all, but I do think that it's somewhere in the middle, and it's very easy to put together. It's a solid design. The thing has a lot of strength in the wing, which is something you don't see from like older designs. It's made of EPO, so if you need to use CA on it, you can. I used China glue for my tail. I used China glue for my steps. They're holding strong. I did use, reluctantly, thin CA to put in my rudder, only because China glue probably isn't the right approach for that. But we will show all those details, by the way, in the Unbox Build radio setup, but
don't worry, you didn't actually open the new, you didn't cut the tip off your CA.
That's right.
You wouldn't ever do it.
We'll show you how to do it without cutting the tip.
I have a question.
Also chrome, speaking of tips, beautiful.
Beautiful. The 1300 is the recommended size, but it says it can hold up to a 2200.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it could do a 2200 or is it
I wouldn't do it. It's just gonna fly heavy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would not fly this plane any heavier than you have to. If you had an 1100 milliamp hour pack, I would use that. Because the thing is, it has tons of power. I mean, if you can't get 15 minutes of flight time out of a 1300, that's a pretty good flight time, guys. So a 15 would probably be pushing. I'm gonna set my timer for like 12 minutes with a 1300, and that'd be totally safe. You're gonna bring it down. If you get into it and do some crazy aerobatics and stuff, you're not gonna kill yourself or your plane. So at the end of the day, I just really enjoy general aviation airplanes. And the thing is, it's just like anything else. If it's one of your favorites, like if you have a Cessna 400, if you own one or if you've flown one in real life, you're gonna want this because it's a really nice looking replica. Also, I like the finish. I like the blue, I like the gray, I like the white. I think it looks good. It's not dated looking, but it's also got that modern look to it. But there's some that are gonna complain that it's too plain, like it needs a white finish. I personally don't care. Some of you might. I'm not trying to poo-poo your concept of what value comes from, but the truth is, I just don't think it's critical. Oh, look,
that thing. You did break your pants.
That's a wheel fairing. Yeah. So it looks like I just gotta put some China glue on there.
Yep.
But it looks like everything's still working fine. So I'll get that glued back down. That'll take 10 seconds, and then I'll take a blue marker to this, and it will cover up that little scrape.
Did you feel like your ground handling was okay?
It was okay. The left versus right kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I felt like the rudder authority was good on the air side. The ground authority was okay. Mostly turning, was it left it turned sharp and right it was really?
Opposite.
Okay, so the right was sharper.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I gotta say, guys, it is a beautiful looking plane. It is a really good scale replica. And my biggest complaint about this plane was actually a complaint that Cessna made, and that is this really, really ugly nose gear. And I hope I don't offend anybody who flies the Cessna 400, because believe me, if I could fly a Cessna 400, I'd be very happy to do it, even with this fugly nose gear. But the truth is, I just love aviation. And seeing a rendition of a good, well done, relatively easy to fly, relatively easy to build, not overly expensive, not overly cheap. I mean, it's right in the middle of the pack, I think, in terms of performance. You know, could you put more power in it? Yeah, but the thing is, there is a point where you put so much power into a plane, it becomes the RV7, and I just have no interest in it.
Right.
Which is weird, because you would think you can't have too much power. Well, the truth is, in my experience, you can. And when you have too much power, the plane becomes
oh my goodness,
an explosion. It came from over there. Yes, that's right. It's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, guys.
It's been that all month.
All month. Every time that I jump from an explosion in my neighborhood.
I don't mind, but I jump every time.
If I would have known it was coming, I would have jumped. So, but yes, the Cessna, it's a great rendition. I think you're gonna like it. It's gonna fit well in your hangar. It's gonna fit even better in your car when you go to fly it. Grass ops, not so much.
Yeah.
Pavement, beautiful. But if you're doing grass ops, you can probably get it to the ground. I'm just afraid you might drop your pants around your ankles and end up in America's Funniest Home Videos. So just be careful about that. That is a wheel fairing, I know that. But still, set up a joke.
The joke doesn't
Give me a break.
Work. Yeah.
Is that guy from Full House still doing that? Oh, he died.
Oh, he died too. Man, you're on a roll with the people
That's
that
right.
died.
First OJ.
Stop naming
what's
people.
his name? What's his name from Full House?
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. First OJ, then Bob Saget.
We know they're dead. We got it.
Which is the next dead to be insulted on Brian Phillips. Sorry. See, if you guys want, go ahead and put up your suggestions for next dead people to forget they're dead in the comments below, and we will read them and laugh with you. But anyway, that's all we got for you today. Check it out. Links in the video description below. You can get one ordered today. I believe they're in stock right away. If you're watching this and it's been like 6 years and they're not in stock, please don't throw anything at the screen. It won't hit me. It's just going to break your screen. But I definitely do like general aviation. I am a huge sucker for general aviation. And so for that reason, I would highly suggest that you add this to your hangar. Any questions?
Nope.
Anybody behind the screen? Okay, leave them in the comments below. If you want to support Brian Phillips RC, buy these things from the links. If you don't like this plane, there's plenty of others on brianphillipsrc.com. That's our website. You can sort by what we've reviewed in the past, which are literally thousands of videos. You might not like this, but maybe you like the Cirrus SR22T, or maybe you like the PA-18, or maybe you like the Carbon Cub, or maybe you like the list keeps going forever, guys. Cessna 182. I mean, it just depends. Yeah. Whatever your taste is, we will help you fill that void. So, without further ado, we wish you a happy 4th of July. Hope you guys don't blow your hands off, because we need these things to fly radio controlled. Okay, so be careful. Be careful out there, America. And get one while they're hot. Stay tuned. So much more right around the corner on Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching.